Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Bet David. Thank you to everybody who's attending here in person. Lovely to see you here, especially on a long weekend. And greetings to people from around the world who are watching us via YouTube. And tonight the candles will be lit by Brenda Resnick. You will find the candle lighting, it's on page 118.
As these candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. And before we actually start with the actual service, which the choir is going to do, I'm just going to read a short prayer that is actually on page 345. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We'll continue page 130, and the choir will lead us.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu nekadmafa navetota. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena da. Naria, Naria, letzor yishenu, bizmirot Naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neran el Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neran el Adonai.
El Gadol Adonai, Umelech Gadol al Kol Elohim, page 131. In God's hands are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are God's. God's is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel, bend the knee before God our Maker. For the Eternal One is our God, and we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. Hayom imbokolo tishma'u. Page 133. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, ki nifla'ot asa. Sing to God a new song, for you have worked wonders. Your right hand, your holy arm have won you victory. Eternal One, you have shown your victory, displayed your justice in the sight of the nations. You were mindful of your love and faithfulness towards the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Hariol Adonai kol haaretz, pitzchu v'rananu v'zameru. I'm going to continue on page 135. God, enthroned on cherubim, is sovereign. Peoples tremble, the earth quakes. God is great in Zion and exalted above all peoples. They praise your name as great and awesome. God is holy. V'oz melech mishpat ahev, ata konanta mishayrim, mishpat utzdaka b'Yaakov, ata asita. Mighty ruler who loves justice, it was you who established equity, you who worked righteous judgment in Jacob. Exalt the eternal our God and bow down to God's footstool. God is holy. We come now to Psalm 29 on page 136. Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim. Havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, hishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai b'hadar. Kol Adonai shoveh erazim, v'yashaber Adonai et hazeh havanon, v'yakidem kamo egel, levanon v'sirion kamo ven re'emim. The voice of the Eternal One kindles flames of fire. The voice of God convulses the wilderness. The Eternal One convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of God causes hinds to calve and strips forests bare, while in God's temple all say, glory. The Eternal One sat enthroned at the flood. The Eternal One sits enthroned, sovereign forever. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, may God grant strength to our people. Adonai yavarech et amo v'shalom, may God grant our people peace. And we come to Lecha Dodi, and the choir will lead us. Please join in with the singing.
Shamoy v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmianu el hamyuchad. Adonai
As we've welcomed the Sabbath bride, let's take a few moments to say hello to each other, greet people who you might not know, and greet people who you do know.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, כי בבוקר חסדך, אמונתך בלילות, עלי עשוי ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
How great are your works, Eternal One! How very subtle your designs! A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Read along with me the next 4 lines. The righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the Eternal One's house, they flourish in our God's courts. In old age, they still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness, attesting that God is upright, my rock, in whom there is no wrong. We turn now to the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. If you're able to, please rise.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Amen. Be'alma divrach kirutei ve'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon. Uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'akai lavizman kariv. Ve'imero. Amen. Yesh merabam mevorach. Le'olam ulol me'almaya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitatar v'yitale v'yitalal. Shmei dekodsha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Tahamiran be'alma ve'imero. Amen. Lamdeni Elohai, Yitmalel, al sod alekamel, anoga priva shel, al hacherot hazot, lirot lachosh linshom, ladat leyachel leikashel. Lamed et siftotai bracha v'shir halel, beitchades mancha imo keveim lel, levani yeyomi hayom, yitmol shilshom, levani ye'alai yomi hagel. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam. Amen.
Please be seated, and we'll continue on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'dvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma potech she'arim. Page 149. Praise to you, eternal our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, eternal our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
גאולת עולם בית ישראל עמך אתה תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה יומם ולילה
ואהבתך אל תשים ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. We'll find the Shema on page 152. If you're able to, please rise.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך, וכשאתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם. ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והים לכם לציצית הוריתם אותו. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם. ולא תתורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. And read together with me at the bottom of page 155 in English. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am your eternal God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Please be seated. Page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Yabba bim bim bam, yabba ba bim bam, yabba bim bim bam, yabba ba bim bam, ay 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 ay, yabba ba bim bam, ay 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 ay, yabba ba bim bam. Mihi chamocha bailim Adonai, mihi kamocha nedai bakodesh. Nor Lord, O Sefele, nor Lord, O Sefele, Malakutecha, Rauvanecha, Bokeayam Livne Moshe Miriam, Zeeli, Anove Yamru, Adonai Himloch, Leolam Vaed, Mihi kamocha bailim Adonai, mihi kamocha nedai bakodesh, norati Lord, o sefele, norati Lord, o sefele.
Kifada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Page 160, and then I'm going to jump to 161. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkenu l'chayim, ufros alenu, sukat shlomecha, v'taknenu be'etzah tova milfanecha. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Eternal One, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beni uven b'nei Yisrael, othi le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz, uvayom hashvi'i shavat v'yinafash. And we come now to the central pillar of the service. It's the foundation, in fact, on which everything rests. It's the tefillah, or known as the standing prayer. So I'm going to ask you to stand. It's on page 164.
Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avoteinu, Velohei Moteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VeHanorah, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'imaot, Umevi Geula, Livnei Vneihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Mezrat Sarah.
Adonai, Machayea kolata rav lahoshia, Mashiva ruach umorid ageshem, Mazrech hashemesh umorid hatal, Machokel chayim bechesed, Machayeh hakol barachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech ulim u'matir asurim, Kayem emunato lishenei afar. Mi chamocha ba'al gevurot omedome lach, Melech memitum chayei u'matzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, machayei hakol. I'm jumping to page 171. Days pass, and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Ata kidashte et yom hashvi'i lishmecha, tachlit ma'aseh shamayim va'aretz, uve'rachto mikol hayamim ve'kidashto mikol hazmanim, v'chein katuv b'toratecha. The heaven and the earth were finished and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that had been done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God ceased from making all the work of creation. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu, ratzei v'mnuchatenu, katshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'ten chelkenu v'toratecha, sabenu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha.
V'taher libenu, v'taher libenu, v'taher libenu le'oftecha be'emet, v'taher libenu, v'taher libenu, v'taher libenu le'oftecha be'emet. Die, 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 hoi! Die, 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 V'taher libenu, v'taher libenu, v'taher libenu, le'oftecha be'emet, v'taher libenu, v'taher libenu, v'taher libenu, le'oftecha be'emet.
V'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu, be'avav ratzon Shabbat kodshecha, ve'enuchu va'Yisrael mekadshei shemecha. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael, u'tfilatam be'ahava tekabel, u'tileratzon tamid avodat Yisrael.
El karov lechol korach, Baruch atah Adonai,
Let's see.
מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך נספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך. ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת, ערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulcha na'eh lehodot. Page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, amcha tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lachol ha-shalom. V'tov be'enecha, levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol eit u'v'chol sha'a bishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. Please be seated, and we'll take a few moments for our own silent meditations.
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yosh beit Tevel ve'imero Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imero.
Rabbi Shimon is not with us physically. He's still somewhere in Eastern Europe, and we hope he'll be safe. We all pray for his safety and his speedy return. But in the meantime, he's been good enough to record sermons for us, and so he will be addressing us virtually from afar.
In 1771, there was a plague outbreak in Moscow. People were greatly frightened. Orthodox Christians saw great salvation in the church, so they went to the miraculous icons to kiss them, so that the disease would pass them by. But obviously in this way, they only spread it more. In order to protect the people, Archbishop Ambrosius ordered the removal of the icon of the Madonna from the Barbary Gate of Kitai Gorod in Moscow. Yet the people took the decision extremely negatively. The crowd broke into the Donskoy monastery and ripped Archbishop Ambrosius apart. Clearly the plague did not end the next day. How could such thing happen, especially among people who believe in God? Probably they did not read the Old Testament carefully, because our Torah portion tells the story of another rebellion against the leadership of Moses and Aaron, where, along with some influential leaders, Korach, our chapter is named after him, challenged Moses and Aaron, accusing them of elevating themselves above the rest of the congregation. Moshe Rabbeinu tries to reason with Korach and his followers, explaining that God has chosen Aaron and gave special roles to Levites. He urges people to trust in God's decisions and warns of the consequences of their rebellion, but they simply don't listen to him. They're unable to. So Moses proposes a test. Each member of the rebellion and Aaron are to bring incense offerings before God, and the one whom God chooses will be deemed holy. As the people gather for the test, God causes the ground to split open. God causes the ground to split open, swallowing Korach and his supporters. Now, except a terrible ending for the rebels, what do these two stories of rejecting the authority of a leader, one from the Christian world and one from the Jewish world, from Torah, have in common? Surprisingly enough, in both cases, people have assumed the authority of their leaders. They considered their leaders. In both cases, people seem to be dissatisfied with their guidance and decisions. In both cases, rebels believe they know better, and in both cases, something deep inside makes them blindly act against common sense. And we already discovered one of the natural reasons for such blindness. It seems eternal. It's fear for our own life, fear of death. Fear makes us aggressive and being incapable of making sense even of our nearest future. We do not distinguish between what is good and what is bad. We're naturally made so that we act rashly just to regain control. Because of fear, we sometimes do ridiculous things. And that's not... Because of fear, we sometimes do ridiculous things. And that's probably what happened in Moscow then. But now, remember how many times already Moses was told by the people, "You brought us to die in the wilderness. It would have been better if we stayed where we were." On those occasions, no one was punished by God so harshly as Korach and his supporters now. So the chapter hints us to another reason, which is often passed off as fear for someone's own life. Rebels speak differently this time. "Is it not enough that you brought us from a land flowing with milk and honey to have us die in the wilderness, that you would also lord over us?" Under gravy of fear of death, they hid their desire for supreme power and authority of the priests. It's dirty. But does Moses recognize what happens? Certainly. Moses was much aggrieved, and he said to God, "Pay no regard to the oblation. I have not taken the ass of any one of them, nor have I wronged any one of them." Moses caught wind of the self-interest, of their envy for authority that comes with it, and what comes with it with the property. Moses caught wind of the self-interest of their envy for authority that comes with it, property. Moses caught wind of the self-interest of their envy for authority and what comes with it, property. Same old story, Cain and Abel, so on and so forth. After trying to change the minds of the rebels, Moses has no choice but to take the case to the supreme judge. By giving the rebels a light incense in the trial, in fact, Moses and Aaron By giving the rebels a light incense in the trial, in fact, Moses and Aaron allowed them to exercise that power they so desired. So symbolically and in fact, Korach and other rebels have brought themselves down into the depths with their own hands. And what's worse, they didn't even realize it. How do we not accidentally end up in the same situation as Korach and his associates? How do we maintain the balance? How do we not accidentally end up in the same situation as Korach, or God forbid, as in the first case, the archbishop? Judaism. How do we not accidentally end up in the same situation as Korach and his associates, or as archbishop? Judaism constantly teaches us a balance. On the one hand, we proudly bear the title of God's chosen people, the people of the book. We carry the flag of the commandments of the Torah. The Torah teaches us to recognize that each of our lives is an integral part of the Creator's plan, which means that wherever we find ourselves, whatever we do, we must recognize our own worth and value. But on the other hand, the same Judaism teaches us to remain humble and grounded, modest in the way we dress, in our desires, in respects of those around, in our desires, and to respect those around. As Rabbi Simcha Bunim once famously said to his students, and probably this is the good As Rabbi Simcha Bunim once famously said to his students, everyone must have two pockets, so that he can reach into one or the other according to his needs. In his right pocket are to be the words, in his right pockets are to be the words, "For my sake was the world created," and in his left, I am but dust and ashes. As Rabbi Simcha Bunim once famously said to his students, everyone must have two pockets, so that he can reach into one or the other according to his needs. In his right pocket are to be the words, "For my sake was the world created," and in his left, I am but dust and ashes. Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue the service with the Aleinu, which you'll find on page 586. And we've got an ark opener and an ark closer. Ark opener, Lewis Kling. Ark closer, Amanda Douglas. And they've got Yotzat for their mother and aunt, Lolly and Peggy Kling. So please rise, page 586. continuing the service on page 595, reading number 7. There are stars up above so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. And we think of our loved ones, whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season and years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. And this evening we remember from Bet David, Madeline Lolly Kling, aunt of Lewis Kling and Amanda Douglas, Terry Benjes, brother of Gail Osayski, Johanna Levy, grandmother of Derek Cohen, Laura Ormsby, mother of Dean Ormsby, Leah Kroll, mother-in-law of Bev Kroll, Peggy Kling, mother of Lewis Kling and Amanda Douglas, Nan Cohen, mother of Pat van Flyman, and Levi Mamputa, father of Adele Mamputa. From Bet Menorah in Pretoria, we remember Nathan Kapoulis, father of Mark Kapoulis, and Alec Karp, father-in-law of Merle Karp. We remember too those who passed away recently, Morris Epstein, father of Lynn Sherlock and Errol Epstein. And if anybody has a name to call out, please do so now. I'll start from this side and work across. We also remember those who lost their lives in wars and those who have no one to remember them. And the Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 598. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'oma divrach ruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavorach le'olam u'lomei u'mayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithada v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol bechata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ba'uma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shmaya, v'chayim ma'aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. And please be seated. And I don't see any. Ian is going to come and give us some congregational announcements. What have you got?
Announcements. There don't appear to be any specific announcements, so thank you very much for joining us live, particularly, and also online. And we start tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock as usual, and we look forward to seeing you then. And we will have Kiddush.
Kiddush is at the back. We've got a few little eats, so we'll hope you'll all join us. And thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Adon olam Hashem Allah, b'terem kol yetzir nivra, le'nasa v'chepzo kol, azai melech shemo nikra, ve'acharei kiklot hakol, levado yimloch nora, ve'hu haya ve'hu hover, ve'hu yeh b'tifara, ve'hu echad be'ein sheni, lehamshilo lehachbira, beli reshit beli tachlit, ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamizra, ve'hu eli v'chai go'ali, סוחב לי בצרה, והוניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת אישן והעירה, ועם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא.
Thank you. Thank you, choir. Thank you, musicians. Thank you, technical desk.